Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics.
Bad
Now let's start the show.
Thank you. What's the deal with respawning enemies? They're like respawning players. God, I'm just nailing these, aren't I? With the ground. I just get so annoyed with these, I guess, because fucking you kill an enemy and they come back and it's like, fucking, what was the point? What was I temporarily got him out of my way? He's just gonna come back again, gonna do that shit again. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I'm not talking just about the shit like oh well, like in Gauntlet you got like fucking like enemy spawners, right? And you're like, well, that makes sense. There's a thing that makes the enemy spawn. You go to the thing that makes enemies spawn and destroy it, and it's like now they don't spawn anymore because they don't have a thing to make them respawn. It makes sense. And that's not even necessarily respawning. I guess that's continuously spawning. We'll lump them together. Whatever, ease of title usage. You know, that kind of shit you gotta do sometimes. You gotta play with words to make words fit with your other words in your title. That's how things work sometimes. So I'm told. So called. And, like, it's just frustrating when you're playing a game and you go and you kill an enemy and you're looking around and the enemy just respawns. You have to kill him again, then you keep looking around and trying to do the things, and the enemy respawns again. That's frustrating. It's annoying. It sucks. It's like I want to do a thing, and the enemy keeps coming back to fuck with me. And it's one thing when the enemy's there and you take them out and you're like, good, I took out the enemy. That was the challenging part. Now I can do my other thing I'm trying to do here. If it alerts more enemies in the place and they come after you, fine. But the idea that enemies will just keep respawning, infinitely respawning to keep coming after you, it really makes there not much point to continually killing them other than when they're immediately in your way. And so I feel like it detracts a lot from the gameplay from stuff. And I guess it depends on the game, the situation, sure. But, like, I don't know, have you ever been playing GoldenEye and you were like, gee, I'm sure glad these enemies keep coming back over and over and over again. I wouldn't want to have a fucking break for a sec to do a thing and explore. You know, you don't have time to explore for shit. Like, a lot of these games, if you want to look around, it really discourages that. Because it's like, you can't diddle around, you can't dilly-dally, diddle-daddle, fiddle-faddle, fuck about. You know, you can't, don't fuck any of those bouts. Don't fuck a single bout. Because you don't have time for that shit. You can't. The enemies are going to come back, they're going to shoot you, they're going to shoot your ass, you turn around, they're going to shoot your dick. You know, it's lose-lose. What are you afraid? You want them to shoot? You want to not be able to shit, you want them to not be able to piss. That's your choice with respawning enemies, and that's not a good choice you want to have, you know. You might think, well, what if they shoot you in the stomach or the arm or the face or something? It's like, no, they're gonna go ass or they're gonna go dick. That's where they're trained to shoot. That's just where respawning enemies are just trained to do that. That's what they do. And you know, there's nothing you can do about that other than maybe hack the game, cheat code, something. But a lot of times respawning enemies are like in other games that are really annoying too. Like in some games there are enemies that respawn just like when you barely leave the screen, like older 2D games and shit, and you're like, well, I'm gonna leave the screen here for a sec, whatever, like walk to the side to look at this thing. Oh, there's nothing over here. You walk back, the enemy's back already. Sometimes you kill an enemy and it's like you can, because there's such a big range where they can spawn, it's like you kill an enemy, you run forward a little bit and then they spawn again. Or you kill an enemy, you run forward a little bit, and then, like, turn around even, like, a fucking pixel. And then it's like, oh, shit, the enemy's back. What the fuck? As long as that area is not immediately on the screen, it's like, well, if you go back to it, the enemy's back again. Sometimes enemies can hit you and knock you back with some kind of projectile, and then when you go back up to fight them again, they're there again. You can kill them, but the projectile knocks you back, and then you go back, and they're fucking alive again. It's fucking frustrating. It's frustrating, and a lot of that, for the older games, is just like a limitation. It wasn't like they programmed it in that they had to respawn. It was that they couldn't necessarily program it in to save that character was dead. At least as far as I understand it. I could be totally wrong. I know that's a crazy thing to assume, you know, to realize that sometimes on the show I'm just super fucking wrong about shit. It does tend to happen sometimes. That's why I'm asking what the deal is, not saying that this is the deal. You know, I'm asking questions. And like that's the thing. Why do we still have the respawning enemy things? It seems like there's sometimes when they're used in a way it's like, well, we'll just have enemies continually go at you, so you have to, you don't have to worry about killing them because it's pointless to kill them unless they're an immediate threat most of the time. It really de-incentivizes, it demotivates, it makes you not want to do it. And it's like, what's the point of killing an enemy if there's going to be a million more? If there's not like a set amount that I'm killing and then keeping them out of this area that I killed them in, that kind of thing. What is the point? Am I going for a score or something? Is there some other reason for it? Or is it just to make me really frustrated? Is it make me have to keep killing shit for the sake of killing shit because they're like, well, it's a game, so you should have to keep doing things. Sometimes I want to explore. Sometimes I want to be able to do my things. And sometimes I want to take that extra time to kill everybody so then I can go do my things unopposed. And if I choose to do that, I might not do it super swiftly, which is sort of like the detraction for it, right? That's like the thing that would make me want to get a better time and I want to be more efficient with it. I'll try to do it without killing everybody. But having them constantly respawn means like I shouldn't bother killing anybody, I feel like. I shouldn't bother trying to take my time because it's just going to be harder for me because there's just going to be more things for me to kill, more opportunities for me to get hurt, to lose, to die. I shouldn't have enemies respawn every time I look away. They shouldn't then, it's like, well, if I'm not looking, that means that, they exist again. I just imagined them away, and then when I turn around, they're back. Maybe they were never really gone. Maybe all the respawning enemies, it's just a figment of my imagination. Every time I think one's dead, I just imagined it. It's a dream. That's the twist, is that every time you kill a respawning enemy, it was just a dream. And I'm sorry that I just spoiled like a bunch of games for you now that have respawning enemies. I've completely spoiled them. You shouldn't play any of those now because now there's no point because you know the twist. If that is actually in a game that's the twist, that's why they respawn and they explain it that way, tell me what that game is in the comments. And that would be funny if I thought of that and someone else thought of it like that as a joke thing and it exists. That would be cool. So what's the deal with respawning enemies? They're like despawning enemies with the ground. What's the deal with